Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining VMray's webinar today, hosted by Ingram Micro's Emerging Business Group. My name is Carlene Edge, Marketing Manager here at EBG. Today's webinar will last approximately 30 minutes, and in terms of general housekeeping, your lines have been muted for the duration of the webinar. And if you have any questions, just feel free to type them in the Q&A box on your screen, and we will address them as we get to them. Today's webinar will be presented by Zach Kenny, Director of Channel Sales at VMray. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to hand things over to Zach to kick things off. Zach, you want to take it away?
Yeah, thanks, Carlene. And thanks, everyone, for attending. What I wanted to cover today was just a quick presentation on who VMray is, what it is that we do, why we think you should know about us. And as Carlene said, we're honored to be recognized as an emerging vendor by Ingram Micro. And so we appreciate them for realizing, what the company is doing, how VMray is growing, the products that we make, and we're ready to get out there and do business with all of you. So about VMray, our headquarters is based in Germany. It's a kind of a university town. There's a hub for cybersecurity in Europe. I have well over 100 employees at this point and growing like crazy. And we're most known for making a sophisticated malware sandbox, which we call VMray Analyzer. And so the technology behind this malware sandbox was sort of born out of the research of the two gentlemen who see on the screen here. They were getting their PhDs in cybersecurity and computer science, also involved very early on with some of the first commercial sandboxes. So they were able to sort of identify how those early commercial sandboxes were developed, identify some actual problems with them, and developed a technology and kind of a unique approach to how we analyze samples and URLs. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. And so large number of customers. Actually, we'll probably need to update this slide because I think we're well over 200 customers at this point, and operate, or I should say work with governments, militaries, ministries of defense, financial organizations, healthcare. So that's basic, large enterprise type customers are where we see the most success. And at a high level, what we're basically doing are all the things you see on the screen here. So advanced threat detection, alert triage, incident response, and threat intel generation, basically feeding that into other platforms through our integrations and enriching those cybersecurity solutions as well. And when we get down into more of the features of what VMray Analyzer, the malware sandbox, does is this technology I described earlier, kind of this unique approach. It allows us to avoid being detected. So modern malware can detect if it's in a sandbox. It can modify its behavior and defeat a sandbox. So the way that we do it takes a unique approach and allows us to avoid being detected. And so we see the full behavior of the malware. We also keep our reporting very clean, obviously minimized false positives, all of the things that can send a security team on some sort of like wild goose chase that no one likes to do. At the same time, very deep dive, very full reporting, and also with this approach in terms of the technology and the way it works, we're about twice as fast as a lot of other commercially available sandboxes, and we can scale to any organization's needs. So at a very high level, just a sort of quick sandbox 101, if you will. You basically take your sandbox, you drop in your samples, detonate it, and then you're looking for what's going on, analyzing the behavior, and then report on it, and ultimately return a score, good or bad. So that is your classic sandbox functionality. And so getting to this technology that I was describing earlier and this unique approach, these little boxes are designed to represent different sandboxes. And this is your classic, on the left, a commercially available sandbox. And they've placed a hook or an agent or some sort of code within the sandbox. And as a result, what you see is that the malware can identify if it's in a sandbox, change its behavior, and ultimately defeat a sandbox. So what we're doing is actually analyzing from the hypervisor layer. So we are outside of the sandbox. Malware does not realize that it is within a sandbox. We see the full behavior and we're able to report on all of that. So that's what we mean by evasion resistance. And I talked about sort of the clean reporting. We kind of demonstrate this by taking a just blank Word document, and we measured it against a number of other commercially available sandboxes. And we put in this blank Word document, and VMray Analyzer returns nothing because there's nothing to report on a blank Word document. But you can see some of the other sandboxes and all of the information they're kind of putting out in their reporting. Nothing actionable, nothing really helpful. It's just causing stress for security teams. So that's how we mean by our clean reporting. But also the deep dive, right? So if you want to go very deep into what's available in terms of the reporting you can get out of VMray Analyzer, this is our web user interface. And you can see here that we've got a malicious sample, got a 100% score, and get down to the function log level, just very deep analysis. And there you go, you can see the function log level. And so to kind of describe what's going on under the hood, we basically have 3 stages of analysis that's going on. So when we are submitting samples, it's kind of first go through our reputation analysis, and that just identifies known malware samples and very quickly can sort those out. If you want to go a little bit deeper, we have a static analysis available as well, and that is kind of described as like the cliff notes of a sample. And then the real core of the technology and what we're doing is this dynamic analysis, and that's going to do the full detonation, the full deep dive, and give you a very full picture of what's going on with the malware, and then obviously return a result. So I briefly touched on some of the integrations we have, also just the different ways you can work with VMray Analyzer. So we have a web user interface, also have a very robust API, REST API. And so a lot of our customers are developing their own custom integrations to work with whatever they're using for their security stack. And they can just, from within whatever platform, SOAR, TIP, MDR, submit a sample, have it analyzed, have the results sent back, and that gets back to the threat intelligence generation that we were talking about earlier. We have a number of out-of-the-box integrations available with some of the top platforms, so folks can be using our stuff on day one, ready to go. And so to take a quick look at a couple of those, the full list is on the VMray website, but here are some of the folks that can be integrated with immediately. And kind of touching this a little bit already, but when you're looking at opportunities for VMray customers or potential customers, clients, so enterprise organizations typically in these different sectors, as I mentioned, the government and finance, healthcare, and then technology, kind of all encompassing everything from manufacturing to tech companies like makers of laptops and cell phones named after a piece of fruit. And then these are the folks that we have success with when we're working with some of the different VARs that are out there in the market today. I've already said it, but looking for folks that are working with enterprise-sized organizations. Usually they're experts in their field and looking to offer best-of-breed solutions. Yeah, it's a classic VMray reseller. And you look at the different offerings that we have and how we license our solution. We have a cloud version with an average deal size of around 20K. We're licensing based on the number of analyses per month. And we have a US-based data center, which kind of sets us apart from a fair amount of competitors out there. So, folks based in the US that want to keep their data all in the US, we have that covered for them. We also do on-prem licensing, looking at a slightly larger deal size there, and same licensing model. And then if it's on-prem, it doesn't matter if it's in the US, so we probably need to update this slide too. So yeah, I think when we want to entice resellers to work with us, we, basically talk about offering, reasonable margins, healthy margins. The product is solid. Let any of your clients try it out. We often get the technical win, and our support team is fantastic. We get a lot of comments on our support team for just being very responsive, very quick. And we try to be easy to work with. We want to do business with you. We want to make it easy as possible. So that's what we are bringing to the table. And then the best way to work with us is contact your Ingram Micro rep. They will loop myself in. We'll set up a product demo for your clients. We'll give them a trial so they can kick the tires and test it all out for themselves and make sure it's going to work within their environment. Go for that technical win, and then sometimes we're getting into conversations about customized agreements, which we can also do. But yeah, the easiest way is to just loop us in. We're happy to get involved and be a part of the whole process, and we do that quite often. So just to wrap it all up, if you're thinking about VMray Analyzer, I would say the #1 selling point is our ability to avoid detection. So this evasion resistance is really our claim to fame. But at the same time, keeping the reporting clean, offering that deep dive if that's needed, and then being faster than what's out there. So if you have any questions, you can certainly contact me directly. But also contact your Ingram Micro rep, and they can connect all the dots as well.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Zach. Everybody on the line, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and we will be following up with a recording of this, so you can ask us any questions then as well. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.